From the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
Jefferson was left in Monticello, having given up a collection that took him 50 years to build. This was a collection that represented Jefferson's mind, his universe, everything that he held dear. All of it there, all of it gone. John Adams writes to him, knowing what this means, and says, "How will you ever live without your books?" And Jefferson quite famously responds, "I cannot live without books." We're standing here in the Thomas Jefferson Library in an exhibition pavilion surrounded by a circle of books. This represents the reconstruction of Thomas Jefferson's library as it was sold to the American people in 1815. It came to us as the Library of Congress because the British had burned Washington the year before, 1814, destroying the Capitol, the Treasury, the White House, and numerous other buildings. When those fires were extinguished, the Library of Congress, as it was then known, the Congressional Library, was completely destroyed. Thomas Jefferson was already retired and living in Monticello and had other plans for his massive book collection, 6,487 volumes, certainly the largest collection in private hands in North America. But when he learned of the vandalism of the British, he felt it necessary to replenish the library that informed the members of this nascent Congress, books that they needed for law, for trade, for classical understanding, and offered to sell his private collection to the American people for whatever price Congress was willing to pay.
To James Monroe, Monticello, September 24th, 14. Dear Sir, having learned by the public papers the loss of the Library of Congress, I have sent my catalog to S.H. Smith with an offer of the whole collection, as it stands, to the Library Committee, to be valued by persons named by themselves, delivered immediately, and paid for in such stock or otherwise, and at such epoch as they may choose after the days of peace and prosperity shall have returned.
Well, 6 months of rancorous debate followed, but ultimately Congress did indeed acquire Thomas Jefferson's collection, all 6,487 volumes. They left Thomas Jefferson's home in 1815, lodged in Blodgett's Hotel, which was the temporary capital, and finally found their home in the United States Capitol after its reconstruction. There they stood as the Library of Congress for the next 35 years, until there was a fire on Christmas Eve of 1851. 2/3 of the library, especially 2/3 of Thomas Jefferson's collection, was destroyed in that fire. For the bicentennial of the library in the year 2000, we took on the task to reconstruct the original 1815 collection as it was purchased. He had a notion that his books should represent the universe of thought, all of human endeavor, he said. And he arranged his books as the Enlightenment arranged ideas: memory, reason, imagination. And within each of those sections, he broke up his collection into 44 chapters, representing various topics, so that his collection begins with history, ancient history, modern history, American history, moves on to the history of the physical earth, and then finally into philosophy and fine arts. The notion for Jefferson is that he could sit at the center of this universe of ideas and get up and with a moment's notice be able to locate the book that he needed to work with. Today it stands as the foundation of the modern-day Library of Congress. It covers all topics in more than 16 languages and is a universe that ranges from ancient history to natural history to ethics, philosophy, architecture, poetry, polyglot dictionaries. It has books as serious as the entire philosophical and legal history of the United States and as whimsical as books about brewing, embroidery, hot air ballooning. All of this represented the world of Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, the architect, the politician, the diplomat, the scientist, the planter, the inventor, the man of great letters, third president of the United States, who saw his world encompassed as a circle of books, He brought the Enlightenment to America and brought these books to the foundation of the Library of Congress where it stands today as a tribute to his effort and as a recognition that even today the Library of Congress follows the notions of Thomas Jefferson's collecting. All topics, all languages, open to all who are interested.
This has been a presentation of the Library of Congress. Visit us at loc.gov.